Ah, fuck. Shigeru Miyamoto once stated that a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad. With the passage of time, however, I feel like that statement has been proven untrue. Many recent games that have been put on hold or have been given constant delays tend to end up with the final product being a lackluster experience that was still rushed, or a game that's just straight up bad. And we can say that for many modern titles, but the most notable one that started this trend was Duke Nukem Forever. Duke Nukem Forever was a game that was in development by 3D Realms from 1996 to 2011 due to a really hectic development schedule. It does seem really disjointed even from the public consumer's eye when a company says a game will come out when it's done. Years pass and not until 2007 do we get a new trailer saying the game was still alive. No other info from that, but apparently in 2009, 3D Realms had to be downsized, resulting in a loss of the game's developers. At that point, the game was nearing its final stages, due to footage of the game being leaked online. But then something happened that really shouldn't have. 3D Realms partnered with Gearbox Software and Triptych Games to finally finish what was left, add additional content, and release it to the public. Duke Nukem Forever, after its 15 years of development, does not feel like a successor to Duke Nukem 3D. No! It's one of the most bland, boring, and ugliest first-person shooters that you will ever lay your eyes on. For one thing, the game looks unpolished. Not glitch-wise, but graphics-wise. This game has low-res textures and an awful frame rate on console. At times my game was freezing just from opening doors. Much worse, however, is the way load times work. Every time you reach a new section, a load screen will appear for about 20 seconds. This loading takes forever. A lot of people like to bitch about Sonic 06's load times, but trust me, Duke has it so much worse. At least in Sonic, you can automatically respawn when you die. And hell, even a game from 2001 that Duke Nukem Forever actually makes a dumb joke at,
power armor is for pussies,
that has an automatic respawn system, which is something Duke lacks. You see, in this game that was made 10 years later, every time you die, you have to wait for another load screen while the same shitty theme thrones on in the background. Looks like you just gotta gun it. Okay. Well, you're probably already thinking, shit man, the load times are already bad enough, that's gonna be annoying. And while yes, I can confirm that it is, it does give you somewhat of a breather when you're going through the monotonous gameplay. Duke Nukem Forever does not play like the original games. It plays like the modern FPS with the same gimmicks those games had. For example, there's a 2-weapon limit and regenerating health. The reason why this doesn't work for Duke Nukem Forever is that Duke Nukem 3D was all about being in the range of fire, avoiding projectiles, and getting up close and personal to shoot aliens in the face with a full arsenal of weapons. You had a pretty fast running speed, you were getting guns at a constant rate, and had armor and health pickups. This can happen in Duke Nukem Forever when you use the shotgun, but that's about it. And just barely. When you run low on health, you have to avoid damage, of course, and the best way to do that is to run into cover. And then pop out and play it like Call of Duty. This is something I didn't like about this generation of games. It made shooters about running into cover like a pussy and shooting from there instead of the exciting action of strafing and nailing a headshot on an enemy. Duke wears this gimmick like a badge of honor, which is pretty pathetic. I stick to basically using the shotgun and railgun, aka the sniper rifle, for a majority of the game and without no consequences. Matter of fact, this game's enemies gets really repetitive. By the 10th mission, you have already seen basically every enemy in the game. And from then, it's all fighting the same pigs, lizard dudes, and occasional fat guys until you reach the end of the game. Speaking of enemies, you know how lazy these bosses can get? Not only will you fight the same bosses twice, but instead with more health, you can only use explosive weapons in these fights, and one of the bosses late game is a common enemy you fight, except you're small now. Not even joking about this. And for those of you watching, I want you to personally guess who the final boss is. Just take a wild guess considering the subject matter. If you said the first boss in the game but with more health?
Congratulations! 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 Congratulations!
It also doesn't help that this game is full of artificial game listeners. You gotta do some platforming here, pull this crane here, press up on the control stick to raise the shutters, which makes no difference if you just press the button and it will automatically open. This game is realistic, can't you see? This also leads me into one of the dumbest design decisions of this game, the puzzles. You see, Duke Nukem Forever has these things called puzzles, which isn't really puzzles. It doesn't take any thought or skill to solve these. It's just the occasional break that halts your progression. It's either flip this switch over here and do some stuff, find some popcorn, a vibrator, and a condom. Even worst of all, look around the room for a bunch of arrows to put on this crane to angle it down. There is nothing to these that tests my knowledge or skill of the game. It's just boring padding to make the game last longer than it should have. The story takes place 12 years after the events of Duke Nukem 3D. The aliens invade for revenge, and now it's personal. That's basically it from my attention span. You go, you kill alien pigs, kick ass, and save the chicks, which really doesn't happen in the end. Wanna know why? Because of the worst level in this game, the Hive. So there's a lot of adult content in this section of the review. If you're a young chap who think you can't handle it yet, or don't want to hear about it, skip to this point in the video. You gone? Alright, let's continue. So, the Hive. One of the worst levels narrative-wise I've ever seen in a first-person shooter. So after playing around and doing boring stuff, you get to the Duke Dome. Already, it's a very disgusting level, but that is the least of your worries. So, you delve deeper into this hellhole, and you get to where the aliens kidnap these women. From what you see and hear, these girls are being raped and impregnated by the aliens. Now this would be a scene that thematically, with the right tone and mood, should impact you on an emotional level. A scene where you get to see how much pent-up anger and revenge these aliens have for you. A scene that can reflect on Duke as a character and get him more motivated to take out these alien bastards that shot up his ride and raped his mates. So how do they fuck this up? By making Duke take the whole thing like a joke.
Duke, what's happening to us?
Looks like you're fucked. You little bastard, that queen bitch mother of yours is gonna pay. Time for an examination, ladies. Ugh, gross. So wrong, yet so right.
Not only is this out of place thematically, and Duke is actually making a rape joke while two girls are being raped right in front of him, it does not instill any sort of emotion in the player. It's very out of place, making the whole moment very immature. And considering the company we're talking about, I'm not surprised. Who the hell looked at this and said, yeah, this is something Duke should say at this moment? Or, let's just put some boobs on the wall to increase your ego, slap them titties around. I mean, what the fuck were they thinking? If I was forced at gunpoint to give some positives of this game, I did like the segments where you were driving the Duke truck. It controls pretty well, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fun running over pigs and aliens. You only have it for 3 levels 60% into the game, so this is a very small section. And you can draw on a dry erase board at a few points in the game. It controls horrible on a controller, but still, the game gives you a place to express your feelings at it. There you go.
What are you drawing on the board, Sonic?
That's my review of this game. That's what I'm drawing on the board.
Well, he's more like writing.
Just fuck. Just fuck.
Yeah. And I guess John St. John did a good job reprising this role after such a long time. And while a good amount of the minigames didn't work, I enjoyed when I just kept pressing buttons on the soda machine and started wolfing all the cans down. Other than that, there's barely any enjoyment to be found in this game. Overall, this game was a chore to play through and discuss, and I'm glad I'm done with it. How many ways can I say that this game is shit? Well, in all honesty, I really wish it wasn't. The original idea was great. Having a Duke game on the Quake engine would have been exciting and probably would have brought more games to come. There were a lot more interesting levels in the original builds. I think the game looked the best in the 2003 build. It looked like it had some excitement into it, and this was around the time when FPSs weren't ruined. We probably would have gotten something in the vein of Doom 3 with everything that makes Duke awesome. If development was going to go this long, I personally wouldn't mind if it got silently cancelled. Then again, maybe it is a good thing that Duke Nukem Forever showed how not to make an FPS revival, because everything else afterwards that did get revived ended up great. Doom, Wolfenstein The New Order, and Shadow Warrior, which was even made by 3D Realms, and that just recently got a sequel. And what is Duke doing after his 12 years of development? Well, he's stuck under a shitty publisher that only wants to make money and release the worst version of his best game. Oh, and he's now playable in a $60 re-release of a 60-year-old game. Thanks, Randy Pitchford. You are truly the savior of the gaming community. Alright, let me give you, before we watch this stuff, everyone shut up, don't press anything. Here's my said by the famous John St. John himself. This is what I think about Duke Nukem Forever.
Eat shit and die.
There you go. End the stream, end the recording. Fuck this game.